Hello, this is Dr. Zuleta from the Big Island of Hawaii with the first of 6 video series that we're gonna do with the intention of helping people go through medical issues that they're going through or health-related issues through the answering of questions, through the dialogue. Throughout my career, many people ask me questions, my friends, my family, my coworkers, and a lot of times when I answer them, they said, wow, I wish more people would have heard this answer because they probably would have helped them have a little bit of better direction. And also, we like to talk about here how to integrate everything and integrate all the tools that are out there to help someone heal. And that's what I do through my work and through Samasta. And so all these two things come together and hopefully to help people go through their health issues. So we're gonna start with the first question that was asked, and it was asked by Ashley. And Ashley, I'm truly thankful for you to open up and sharing and asking this question, because a lot of times it's a question that people are very self-conscious about, and is a huge issue, which is hair loss. And is a great one to start with because hair loss can affect us in so many different ways. And not only that, it's also a clue into any disease that might be going in the body, which might be a result of any type of stressor, either chemical, physical, or emotional stressor that can be going on. So we're gonna talk about hair, how it is built, and what things, what type of stressors make it go wrong and cause hair loss. And then we're going to talk about the different diseases that are classified into hair loss. And then we're going to talk about what to do. What can we do to improve hair loss? And then I'm going to share my screen so that we can see what I'm going to talk to you about here. So if we talk about hair, it's pretty interesting. We have about 100,000 to 150,000 hair follicles. And so if you want to count them, go right ahead and let me know how it goes. If you look about the hair, is pretty interesting. We go deep inside into the hair, and you look that there is blood vessels, there is oils, there is nerves. So many things affect the skin and the hair itself, and for the health to be able to grow up and be healthy. And if you look at a microscopic picture of the hair, it looks like tiles, and these tiles have to be healthy. So a lot of times if we dry our health too much, or if we put chemicals in it, we might hurt these tiles. And we're going to talk about this. Now that we've talked about hair, it'd be pretty interesting to talk about some myths that are there. If I wear wigs or hats, I'm going to create hair loss, or shaving is going to make me grow more hair. And all of these actually are myths. Some of the truths are that out of every 3 men, 2 men have hair loss. And out of every 3 women, 1 has an issue with hair loss throughout their lives. And has been proven that there is a genetic factor that play a role, and also genetic patterns, meaning that family patterns that we repeat. So we end up eating the same foods, doing the same activities, and thus we end up activating the same type of genes, creating the same outward experience. So very interesting to look at that. And so if we look at hair loss, there is really 3 types of hair loss, and very simple way to look at it. One way is that the hair follicle is gone, is scarred. It's like a scar and you can't make it better. The second way is that the hair follicle is there, but it's a little bit not working all the way. And the third one is that the hair itself has a problem. And how do you know? Well, you take a pen, and the size of your pen, you grab your hair and you pull it. And if you see more than 6 hairs, you probably have a problem with hair loss. If you see less, then your hair is probably healthy. So that's great. Thankfully, I'm good. And so what types of hair loss are there? There is 3, and we're going to focus on 1. But the 3 types are cicatricial, which is really the Latin word for scar. That's what it means. So the actual follicle has scarred, turned into scar, almost impossible to return it back into normal. The most common one is the non-scarring, where the hair follicle is not working quite right. And the third one is actually a structural type, where the hair itself is not to its full health. And so Now that we know that there is 3 types, we're going to dive into the first one, which the second one, which is the most common one, and that's the one that is a non-scarring type of hair loss or alopecia. And so usually this one occurs 2 to 3 months after a major stress in life. And so that is really important to talk about, because, for instance, an example of this is pregnancy. Pregnancy has a major shift in hormones and emotional stressors and all of these things that happen to women. And many women have problems with hair loss after their pregnancy. And our question was actually specifically for that. Hair loss after pregnancy is very common actually after pregnancy. So what happens during pregnancy is that I'm gonna run through what happens in a normal person. A normal person, actually, the hair is seated, it grows, it matures, and then it falls. But in pregnancy, in the last trimester, the hair doesn't fall. It stays right there where it is. It doesn't fall. And it only falls 3 months after delivery or after the woman starts or stops breastfeeding. So that's very interesting. And then the hair falls. And then that is worsened by any type of vitamin deficiency or any one of the stressors, right? Emotional, any chemical, or any physical stressor in the body. And some women after pregnancy, it's really hard for them to replenish because they're taking care of the babies at night. They're giving their full selves into the babies. And a lot of times, forgetting about taking care of themselves. So a lot of nutritional deficiencies take place, iron deficiency, thyroid problems, all of this, and it can affect the hair. And so the female is never replenished fully from that pregnancy. And so now that we know what the most common type of is, let's talk about these stressors. So what are these stressors? Well, they could be chemical stressors, they could be physical stressors, or they could be emotional stressors. One interesting thing to talk about here is that there is this concept of like an authentic life, or a life that makes you fulfilled. And a lot of times, if we're living that way, in essence, what that means to me is that we're doing something that we love, we're hanging out with people that we love, and we are doing activities that we love, and we have a relationship with whatever is around us that we are fulfilled about. Usually in that way, a lot of these stressors will kind of take care of themselves, because if you're doing a lot of physical activity and healthy relationships, the physical stressors are probably not going to be there. If you're taking care of what you put into your body, then the chemical stressors are kind of going to take care of themselves. And if you're around people that loves you and take care of you and nurture you, then the emotional stressors are kind of going to be out of there, unless something happens that is out of our control. And so that's very interesting. And why is it so interesting? Because this can affect any one of our organs, the lungs, the heart, or the hair, like we're talking about in here. And so how systematically could we go about this to make an impact of it? There's this concept of nutrition, right? And so we think of nutrition as food always. I thought about it like that a lot of times. And really, what gives us nutrition is energy, right? And so a great concept is of primary nutrition self-care, meaning that the primary nutrition or this primary energy really comes from the purpose or what we're doing with our lives, the physical activity that we take, and also our relationship to the world around us, or some people call it spirituality. And I'll give you an example. If I had a flight tomorrow at 3 a.m., I'll be up at 2, getting ready, energized, boom, ready to flight. And if I didn't have anything to do, I probably sleep in. So that's what that means, that, that energy, our purposes are driven and give us a lot of energy. And so it's very important to look at that. And this is what primary nutrition is in self-care, in a way, allowing for your purpose in the world to be able to do that. If it's music, if it's writing, if it's office work, wherever that is, that'll give you energy. being involved in projects that energize you. Physical activity, if you jump out of a plane or go skateboarding or riding, it puts chemistry into your body that is healthy for you. And spirituality, or the relationship around you, it's important because that also gives you a sense of peace and purpose. And so then after that, the secondary nutrition is the food. And so if we think about food, specifically for this issue, the building blocks of hair are really biotin and omegas. And so biotin, you can get it, from eggs and avocados. And then the omegas, nuts, fish, things like that, can improve the nutrients or the building blocks of the hair. Now that we've talked about nutrition and lifestyle type of things, primary, secondary nutrition, if that doesn't work for about 6 months, or if you feel that medications are important for you, or medical procedures to help you achieve that goal that you want, then these are the medications that are available in the counter. These are kind of the therapies that are available. The first one is Rogaine and minoxidil. They're both FDA approved. Pretty good clinical data, but it doesn't work for everybody. Usually it takes about 3 months to work. And just be sure, don't believe anything I say or any one of the studies say. Only one way to know is to try it yourself. If any side effects, be aware of them. You can get this one over the counter. A lot of people have good results with it, and there is good clinical data. The second one that you'll need by prescription is actually called Propecia. Propecia was actually a drug that was designed for prostate issues for men, but one of the side effects was hair gain. And so usually, though, it works in male pattern hair loss, not necessarily only for men, but in male pattern hair loss, meaning on the sides and then in the back. Women can have these too, and it usually works for that. One thing that is very important that you know about this drug is that the main side effect is lack of libido or sex drive. So it can decrease your sex drive. So if you rather have hair than sex drive, then this is one of the drugs for you. If that's not you, then don't touch this medication. The other medication that is used off-label by very experienced dermatologists is aldactone. It's a diuretic, but one of the side effects is hair growth. Very mindful with this medication. You have to get lab work regularly because it's a diuretic, and you have to be in direct contact with your doctor at all times because it is a diuretic. So usually prescription only, usually done by dermatologists only for the most part. The next one is laser therapy. And as you can see in this video, the laser comes from the top, and what it does is actually increases the blood flow to the hair, and that increases the nutrients of the hair follicle, and it grows a lot better and healthier. People have pretty good results with it for about a year, and they sell these funny looking helmets. It looks like Star Wars, but actually it shows pretty good results about a year. People are really happy with them. You can get them for like, I think about $500. And so if that seems like something that resonates with you, some people have good results with it. The next treatment is hair transplant surgery. People have good results with it. Pretty expensive, about 10 grand, $10 to $20,000, and people have some good results with it. And one of the latest treatments that is coming out is called a platelet-rich plasma. So they take a part of the blood and they inject it into the skull, and people have really good results with this one. Actually, it's about $400 to $600 a session, and people have really good results with it. If this is something that resonates with you, our goal is to give you all of the options that you have, and then you see what resonates with you and go from there so that you can be healthy. So now that we've talked about all of this, really my purpose is to help people thrive myself, and return any favor that people have helped me go through in my life, and help other people through that. So I want to exemplify really through that is that I'm going to come back here to my share screen. I'm going to stop the sharing. That You know, one time there was a, I was in the traffic, in the grocery line with my mother, and she was buying groceries and books. And when we got up there, there was not enough money for both things. We were struggling when in my upbringing in Colombia, and so the lady in the cash registry asked my mom, told her the price. My mom looked at the food, looked at the books, looked at the food, looked at me, looked at the food, and she said, we got to get the food. And so we didn't have any money to get the books. And the guy behind her line said, I'll get the books. I didn't even know him. I don't even know who he is to this day. But that really impressed me and left an imprint in me that how do I pay him back? I don't know him. And so I have to return the favor through meaningful work and through hard work and through fun work, to return the favor and to expand that. Another story is that one of my first experiences pronouncing someone dead at the hospital, I walked into the office, into the hospital per se, actually, and they called me that this elderly woman have passed, that I had to go tell her husband. And so I walk down the hallway and I get into the room. And when I get into the room, I see that her husband is sitting right there and that she's laying passed. And so I go over there, I examine her, and I tell the husband, I said, she has passed. And he's very calm, actually, and he stroked me, and I said, how are you? And he said, I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. And I said, you're doing okay? And he said, yes, I was good to her and she was good to me. And so that story really impacted me, because it almost seems like at the end of the day, it's a relationship that we have with ourselves, whether we've lived a satisfactory life, and we are the only ones who know that. And a lot of these health issues come down to that, because if we take care of that, of our purpose, of the things that we want to do for ourselves, for other people, a lot of the other things fall into place. So this is the end of the video. Return the favor, and I hope that it was useful. Looking forward to making the other video. Ashley, thank you so much for asking the question. I hope the video was useful to you. And if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to message me, and we will get them answered. Thank you so much. Have an outstanding day.